I'd like to give you a brief lecture on ambient light. So what is ambient light? Ambient light is the light that's already available to you before you start adding any other types of lights. So there's the three different types of light we have are natural light from outdoors, natural light from indoors, and artificial light in the home. So natural light from outdoors is a fancy way of saying window light. Okay, this is the daylight that comes into your home or other interior space through windows and doors. And so you can see the difference between the image on the left and the image on the right. It's the same exact room, but the image on the left is ambient, the natural light, and it has a completely different look. Another way to get natural light indoors is with the candle. Okay, so candles are considered natural light as well. And so candlelight, as you are probably aware, creates a very warm, cozy, and sometimes even romantic kind of feel. And then there's artificial light indoors. Okay, and that's when you're not allowing light to come in through the windows, but you're utilizing the artificial light that you have, which you may or may not include in the picture. You know, no overhead lights can be seen in here, but there's several lamps, and they've all been included as elements of the picture. So where do we use the ambient light? Certainly anything you shoot outside, you're going to be using ambient light. It's really nice to use ambient light for portraits as well, and as I mentioned, for interior spaces. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the golden hour. This is the absolute best ambient light that there is. The golden hour is the period of daytime right before sunset or right after sunrise. The sky has a reddish or a pinkish quality to it, or sometimes a golden quality to it, which is why we call it the golden hour. It's a much different quality of light than when the sun is high up in the sky. Okay, tips for shooting during the golden hour. Be there before it starts. Okay, if you get there and you're trying to get your camera set up and it's just that perfect moment, by the time you're ready to shoot, you'll have missed it. Okay, so what you want to do is get there before the sun comes up, or get there before it starts to sink down low in the sky, and figure out what you want to do and set up your shot. Okay, you've got low light, so you may need to use a higher ISO to avoid super long shutter speeds, and use spot meter on your subject. Okay, if you are doing a portrait, make sure the light is coming in from the side. If the light's facing them straight on, it's gonna, first of all, it's gonna kind of blind them, and second of all, it's gonna kind of wash them out a little bit. But if you want a silhouette, then you can put your subject in front of the sun. I strongly recommend a tripod. Okay, because your light is starting to get low. Remember, you can't have a shutter speed of slower than 1/60th of a second. Okay, and so a tripod will most necessary for handheld. I mean, so a tripod will most likely be necessary. And if there are long shadows, bring them into the composition. Overcast days are great for shooting outside. People think that, oh, I can't go take pictures outside because it's cloudy. Wrong. Overcast days are great for this. An overcast sky diffuses the light so that there's no shadows, and there's no harsh shadows. The shadows and the highlights are subtle gradations to one another. You don't get glary hot spots, and you don't get like unflattering, really sharp shadows on the face particularly. It's very unflattering in most cases to take like a harsh light on a portrait. So Go outside on a cloudy day and just start shooting. Colors tend to be more true. The type of light that you have changes the color, as you saw in the side-by-side comparison of the interior space. Okay, so colors tend to be what they truly are when you're outdoors on a cloudy day, and you can backlight without blowing out the sky. Okay, so one thing to do is use colors that pop out against the background. Excuse me. And dark clouds are great. Skies that don't have any clouds can feel kind of blown out. And dark clouds are really better than light clouds, or you see here kind of a combination. Bracket. I tell you guys to bracket all the time anyway. And just watch those clouds, watch for something to come through. This would be a great opportunity to use backlighting to your advantage. Refracted light is when light is passing through a transparent or translucent object. And what happens when light passes through an object is it bends. And so you can get a lot of really neat effects with refracted light using droplets of water, glasses of water, prisms. I mean, basically anything like this as actually acting as a prism. And glassware is a lot of fun to photograph. You get a lot of emotion from ambient light as well. So I wanted you to see the difference here. The somber moodiness of the seascape here and the bright ethereal quality of this landscape, the drama of this high contrast, and just the softness, the softness of this one and the optimism in this one. And so in summary, ambient light is what you get when you're not adding any other light. It's great for interiors, exteriors, portraits, landscapes. Okay, the golden hour, best time to shoot. Okay, overcast days, great days for shooting as well. So happy shooting.